Hi there everyone, here I am doing a pre-release draft for this new set, Eldritch Moon. Now I didn't actually go to like a real pre-release, and in fact I didn't even look over the full spoiler yet, so I get to improvise a lot more than I normally would in a draft. I mean, in the future I'll know what every card is right away, but on this particular occasion, I'm just sort of winging it, which I enjoy. That's one part of the appeals of pre-release drafts. A rare is this thing, which is, I mean, it seems pretty good to me. It answers everything. This thing also seems pretty good, since it's a removal, and I mean, like, this card's fine and all that, but like, I feel like this is a fairly solid answer to everything. I'm not aware of there being an exceptionally high amount of enchantment hate or anything like that, so I mean, that's nice. Here we have an Edict effect as a rare in this pack. Edict effects are typically not that great in Limited, since people normally have some sort of bad creature lying around. This card seems pretty good though. Like, it's a 1-drop early and is a relevant creature later on, so I'm sort of inclined to look at that. I always liked Otherworldly Journey, so I'm a fan of this card. And nothing else. I mean, this card seems fine, but a bit expensive. But then again, it's a double removal spell, and could presumably turn on some madness. I don't know. It seems like quite a high cost, and I like being aggressive in general, so go for that card. This is a good pure life gain card, and probably would lead to drafting a sweet one. You know, it locks up the game if you sort of have the late game and control to support it, but I'm not totally convinced I will have that. If I was taking a white card, I think I'd much rather just take this, since pacifism's always solid, and this one is slightly better in the long run because there's a creature like Oromancer in the set which can, well, it's not actually Oromancer, but I don't remember what its real name is, that can return it to your hand after it gets used. This card seems pretty good. Like, if you build around it, if you really go for it, you know, you can get a cheap guy. I'm gonna lean on the side of taking a removal card though. This card seems fine if you're defensive enough, but I'm not that excited by it. This card I'm very not excited by. I mean, I would board it in against certain very clunky decks, I suppose. But the fact that it can trade for, you know, random combat tricks is not great, or whatever their worst card is. This card seems totally fine. I'm always happy to play some Order of the Sacred Bells. I'm a little bit unclear how good this is, but I think it's pretty good. I think I'm going to just lean on the side of taking cheaper creatures rather than the bond. For now, anyway. I quite like this card, but I'm not totally convinced that I can make it work at the moment. It's the new Factor Fiction. That seems pretty sweet. I'm very sorely tempted. This card seems, you know, pretty solid, if not super exciting. I quite like this because it, you know, makes things go pretty well during combat if they're planning to ambush you with something. But, you know, I sort of want to try this. I want to see how good it is. I don't really know. What is this? I've never seen a card drawing spell I didn't like. It's possibly a bit on the expensive side. I mean, I know it gets cheaper with Delirium. You know, when I could just instead take like a solid flying guy or this thing, which does seem pretty good. Hmm. 3 mana is quite a lot to equip. Now I'll take this because it seems very sweet. Crop Sigil. That does seem like it would go well in whatever we're doing, you know, with like Fortune's Favor. And like, yeah, these cards both have Delirium. It seems like a great enabler. What is this? Cheap flyer? But I don't have any black cards yet. I'm not that excited. This spider seems pretty good, but you know, this leads to sweeter decks, I think. Now, what can be done with this? There is the Ghostly Flicker type card in this set, which exiles cards, two of your creatures and puts them back into play right away. And that seems quite good. On the other hand, like this, if we're going on this Delirium plan, this is just another card with Delirium. This is maybe also an enabler for that, but I say in case everything goes terribly wrong, I like to lean on having more creatures, just so that my deck is, you know, somewhat salvageable if it doesn't quite come together. This seems like it would be a huge blowout a certain amount of the time. This isn't super. I mean, I suppose I'm sort of abandoning this white card. And I could take this, since it seems... So I'm not very excited by a 3 mana combat trick. Hey, wasn't I highlighting the white card? Got given an island instead. Well, never mind. I guess I'll never mind about that thing and take this, since it's just a random dude. This thing tabled. Cathar Shield seems very expensive to equip, but probably pretty unbeatable for certain decks, to be fair. I'll take this thing. It's an enchantment, goes with the Delirium theme, and gets you something out of it, even if your thing dies afterwards. I'll take this for Sun Titan Brews in the future. Yeah, well, this is a Delirium enabler. Alright, that's an interesting first pack, I think. What is this? This is text. Whenever equipped creature attacks, doesn't untap during its next untap step. It's sort of like Leaden Fists that you can move around. Leaden Fists was an enchantment feature site that you flashed in, gave +3/+3 to a thing, but then it didn't untap again. But you could use that as removal. This card does go quite well with Vigilance cards. I'm not quite sure how good it is here. I could take this thing. I could take another Choking Restraints if I think I might be able to find the mana to pay for them. Well, honestly, I don't know how good this card is. At the very least, it makes very large blockers. I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna see how it goes. Since I know this card's a common, so I should be able to get some more of them if I wish. And if all else fails, I mean, I guess I can hope to mill it and discard it. And it puts creatures in my graveyard, which is occasionally useful. I'm not a big fan of cards like this, but I guess it goes well with the Stitcher's Graft. Here's another Survivalist, but we have a bunch of 4-drops at the moment. We don't really need more. Yeah, alright. I mean, if I'm going to try and make that card work, you need to suck it up and take some cards which might make it work. So, in it goes. And, you know, it might allow me to splash for the Choking Restraints if I get a couple of these cards to block and fix my mana. Here's another of these equipments, which I think, you know, is still pretty good, if expensive to move. I think this guy also goes with the Stitcher's Graft. More self-milling things. We don't have that much payoff for this Delirium yet, however. What does this card do? That seems quite beefy. Well, I think I'll just take this guy. Emrakul's Influence. I don't think that's good here. I do like Drag Under. Just, I'm a fan. It of the Horrid Swarm. That also kind of goes with Stitcher's Graft, actually, because, you know, you smash somebody with it, then emerge out of the guy with this. Seems decent. There's 2 Spontaneous Mutations in here, which might be the pick. I think I'm a fan of this if I'm a bit more tempo-y. Like, I seem to be messing around with Graveyard a little bit. Yeah, I'll take one of these. Going to be naturally short on removal, being a blue-green deck, seemingly, so this card seems pretty good. Like, I'm probably going to have a lot of creatures. This card, I also like cards like this. I'm not a fan of cards like this, even though I'm sure it does turn on Delirium fairly well. I mean, it's for the type of effect it is, it's quite good, but on the other hand, you're down a card, right? So you definitely can't play too many cards like that. Well, we don't actually have any Emerge guys yet, so I'm going to take this Geist of the Archives, which may be just horribly wrong, but no, well, this card's fairly sweet if you're more aggressive, I think. Oh, Prey Upon? There's cards in this set? Ah, look at all these green cards. This card does seem pretty great, but I mean, this Prey Upon has to be pretty solid. Definitely a little bit worse, since it's not particularly good with Geist of the Archives or Primal Druid. But I should be able to kill most creatures with like backwoods survivalists or that sort of thing. Oh, how splendid. I don't think there's anything in particular I could do with this. I sort of want more Vigilance guys for my random equipment, but I am always a big fan of 2/1 flyers for one, even though it can only block other flyers. We're a bit short on 2-drops as it is. I wonder how many of these I could have drafted if I'd been trying hard to do that. Here I'm not very excited by the options. What does this card do? No, this is a good card to learn is in the set. This this could easily ruin what looks like a lethal swing here or there. I guess I'll just take this for the sideboard because I could have taken Turnicide for the sideboard, but should I? Is it too late to try and make these worthwhile? Well, I might be, but on the other hand, I have a few 3-mana things. I'm not very excited by any of these. I haven't seen this card before. It's, I mean, if you're in the market for a Lava Spike, I suppose you can. I suppose it's a fairly good Lava Spike, but ugh. Well, this card seems like the most annoying. So I suppose I will take this thing. I think that's probably enough of the self-milling things. Well, we have another one of these guys. I'll just take more things, keep passing red. I'm fine with other people having that guy. So having a bunch of these guys does make me want one of the equipments a bit more. It gives +2/+2, just having another way to make this a relevant card. And I'm not super excited by this pack. I mean, this card's obviously great if you're black. This card's great if you're aggressive in red. So it's this. Sacrificing clues seems not that likely since we only have one pack of potential clues. Like I could take Griffspoon and try and splash it, but that seems maybe a bit ambitious. Could take Just the Wind. I suppose Just the Wind's probably the best option. Honestly, I sort of assumed or hoped that pre-releases would be like triple of the new set rather than having some of these. So I guess my take inventory is definitely too late. I'm gonna take Just the Wind. I'll probably be able to find something to madness it with, perhaps. The options here are this thing, which is fine. This guy, which will probably get me a land back, so it's not a problem. Wicker Witch is an artifact, which helps whatever delirium things I might get to do. I expect I will get a Stoic Builder or a Wicker Witch if I want it, but I suppose most other people, if they also want delirium, will take the Wicker Witches first. Yeah, I'll just take the Wicker Witch. Oh no, I could have had 2 of these. Someone's getting rewarded down there, and there's a deadweight also. I'm not sure how much investigating I'm going to get to do since I haven't seen any yet, and Quilled Wolf is always good, so it seems like the choice here. Even though I do like me some Illumination. Well, Rattle Chains we're adding to our 2-drop count at least. Maybe we can get some later Moldgraph Scavengers. In this card, Briar Bridge Patrol is always acceptable, but not that exciting. Epiphany at the Drown Yard. Oh, I do like that one. Good at my Tron decks. Yeah. Jace's Scrutiny is just solid. So, like, Gone Missing's fine too. Honestly, I think I have enough random card drawing effects. So maybe I just want to take the Scrutiny as a combat trick. Maybe I'll do something with the clues, and it's good to add some instants to my deck for delirium purposes. I think I might be able to table some scavengers anyway. Well, Stitch Mangler's fine. Explosive Apparatus is fine also for delirium purposes, but I like mangling people. Ah, what happened there? Well, I guess this is a removal spell. No, it doesn't always work, for example, with this, but I don't really have any ways to madness things, I suppose. I don't really have card with madness. I don't even think I want nagging thoughts. But I'll take it anyway. I don't really care about the other cards in this pack, I don't think. Oh, so I could take this, or this press for answers. Press for answers is obviously a lot better if you have cards like this. And I only have, what, one thing that makes glue? So I honestly can't tell how good a vanilla 2-1 is in this pre-release format. So, oh, oops, well, timed out. Took it exactly what I wanted. I don't care about this card at all, I think, and this card is occasionally annoying. Definitely not casting pieces of the puzzle, so I'll just take this card. So I guess I'm not tabling my Molgraph Scavengers. Perhaps I'm overestimating the likelihood of that occurring. Whatever. Hooray, I got one. My team of 0 power creatures. Well, I guess I didn't get to draft like a really sweet deck like I was hoping. I'm not. I mean, this will be fine. But, you know, not incredibly exciting overall. We have 30 cards in our deck. So we need to make some cuts. So, time to spread these cards around. I think this guy's gonna be on the weak side with only one clue. Convolute's a bit expensive. Oh, we didn't get our Stoic Builder back, I noticed. So what is our deck doing? I guess we're some sort of weird graveyard based beatdown deck with some 0 power creatures to facilitate our beatdowns. It's alright though. I think we've got this Stitcher's Craft. Could get us. Can either turn this into like a giant blocker and then, you know, get stuck in a little bit later on. I mean, that seems fine. I sort of feel like this one maybe is a bit on the. No, because I mean, I took it because I want to try it out, right? It's probably good. Maybe. Maybe. It's good for mind games. Here to try. Here we're here to try out things. So I mean, do I need to cut creatures? Is this card maybe not that great? Who knows? Not me. I don't know anything. I guess this isn't that great since I don't have any madness enabling. It's just a 2 mana unsummon. So that's one down. I guess I don't have any like big things to do, which is probably a problem. I mean, these sort of count. And then I guess I should have taken that one emerge guy. I'm honestly not convinced. I'm not convinced I really need this to obtain Delirium. Like, I have 2 Laboratory Brutes, Fortune's Favor, some instants, some enchantments that I'm going to play in anyway. I mean, this does get a creature and a land back. But I'm not sure our deck is sweet enough to actually make use of it. Like, I don't actually think obtaining Delirium is good enough that I want to play cards specifically to do it, even if eventually I'll be able to cash it in to raise dead something. Maybe remove this. I mean, this might be horrible, but this is what the pre-release drafts are for finding out if your deck is complete garbage and if you're cutting great cards from your deck. It's good to find out now rather than at, say, a GP or something. Maybe this card is just terrible. Maybe this card is just awful. It's important to note that it's not actually lead fists, as in it does untap eventually. I guess it turns it more into a Spectral Force. And I did like me some Spectral Force. Like, I think I still definitely want this because, I mean, Delirium, while not unbelievable, like, I don't have any insane cards with Delirium, like, it's still kind of important. Maybe I just have to cut one of these. I'm not a big fan. Is it remotely feasible to go to 16 lands with this deck? You know, cards are mostly on the cheap side. This card can help us find them in those lands. Well, as the purpose of a pre-release draft is to try out a bunch of new cards, not necessarily to be the most competitive. Like, I know this is gonna rattle some people the wrong way, but I'm gonna just jam this deck as 41 cards, because this way I get to try out the most new cards. And then if anything strikes me as being way worse than my initial impression of it, then I can just start cutting it every game possible. Because I don't think 16 lands is right. I mean, it could be, but don't think so. Because even though we don't have a lot of expensive cards, we still need to actually hit our 3rd and 4th land drops fairly reliably. So you'll know, as they say. Oh, they want 9/7. Oh, that's right, because they want to put 16 lands in my deck. They don't want none of this nonsense that I'm trying to pull with 4/1 cards. Alright. Time to tilt some people by submitting this 41 card deck.